guys? Your boy Handles. How you been, fam? How's the kids? Everything Gucci? Your boy's good. Thanks for watching today. I'm going to be sharing an interview I had with the #1 basketball influencer on YouTube. Some of you guys might remember him from the And1 mixtapes. Other people might know him as Spider-Man Basketball. Some people might recognize him from his own brand, Global Hooper. He needs no introduction. He is the professor. He's had a very successful career and insurmountable success, which is attributed only to his perseverance and his core belief in himself. So he's going to be sharing some words of wisdom in this interview. Enjoy the video, absorb the audio, take what you can out of it. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you to Professor for sharing these words of wisdom. Stay positive, guys. I'll see you soon.
Inspirational.
I know your time is valuable, so I just want to first say thank you for joining me here today. You obviously had a major impact on my life and springboarded my entire decision to pursue entertainment basketball. Been doing it 6 years strong now, so it really means a lot that you're here to share a couple words for our kids.
Hey, humble, man. Thanks for having me on, and I appreciate it, and that's hot, dude. Congrats on 6 years.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it very much. So one period of time that really has always fascinated me about your journey was the gap between when, And1 and Ball Up kind of halted, and then when you really took off, full-time as an influencer. I know you play Spider-Man, but you're a human being, bro. You're only human. And I want to know, was there a time where you really sat to yourself and the self-doubt was creeping in and you said, man, is this going to work? Do I go, look at applications for different jobs? Or what, pushed you through that tough time where you didn't know where you were going to end up, but you know what you wanted to do?
100%. So And1 just ends, end of 2008. You don't even get a call to re-up on the contracts. Just done, right? Flatline. So, that was a tough time because also And1 was on fire up until about 2007, right? It was on every day. That last season, 2008, the show airs like every week it airs and it had no reruns, which was different. Because before, I was always on like 4 or 5 times a week, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you get used to life like that, but also not understanding at a young age, that's like viewership on steroids, right? Like, you're not always going to have that.
Sure.
So it's extremely humbling to go from like, can't go anywhere, need security, to nobody recognizes you. Literally, I remember even a year out in mid-2009, I remember going to basketball games and remember specifically at one person came up to me and they were like, hey, didn't you play on some tournament thing? Something basketball thing? And I was like, yeah, and then I explained it, but often people forget things fast, that's what I do know.
Mm-hmm.
So that taught me a lot. I actually went dirt broke. It's a true story. I went dirt broke. I ended up selling a bunch of my jerseys on eBay. I kept a box full of game jerseys that I found when I was cleaning out my closet. For some reason I had between 50 to 100 jerseys in a box. I don't even know why I kept them, because I remember giving away quite a bit. We just played so many games though, you know what I mean?
Sure.
New jersey every game. So kept them all and I ended up selling them. Some of them I sold for $800, just depending on which one, what the demand was. And then it was tough times, but then Ball Up came to the picture. Actually in 2009, I met the guy who ran Ball Up. His name is Demetrius Spencer.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a supporter of And1 and stuff, and so he wanted to revamp that and build something new. And so we were cool. So he did a couple events in 2009, but then he kind of pulled the reins back and he was like, you know what, if we're going to do this, we got to do this right. We need sponsors, we need investment. We're going to do it big on a tour. It's going to take me some time. So then basically I had nothing going on except for international games every 3 months. I play a game in South America, a game in Africa, a game in Japan, and then there might not be another game for another few months.
Few and far between, right.
It was tough, you know what I mean? I do a little clinic, camp here, there, and we were making ends meet, but it was bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So go all the way up until 2011, getting ready to launch Ball Up. We were excited. We were in LA All-Star Weekend out here, getting ready to launch, promoting it. And I was hanging with Escalade, who I did my whole And1 run with. And we were going to events, we didn't get no rest, we were partying our brains out. And I remember the last night I kept blowing him up. And he he wasn't answering, but I was like, he's probably want to sleep. He didn't get no rest, so I get it.
Right.
So next morning, we had a clinic at a Boys and Girls Club out here in LA, and it was in collaboration with Chris Brown and a few other people, some actors, celebrities. And it was interesting because Escalade didn't show up, but he was always like A1 professional despite hanging out and all that. He would always be there, and he was friends with Chris too, so this was like weird.
Got it.
And then they pulled us aside afterward, told us that he had a heart attack. He was asleep the night before, so that shook me up hardcore. And then it's kind of like the turning point of my life. I actually became Christian at his funeral, ironically, and then it kind of like brought more purpose to my life, and I leaned on God through my struggles. Before that, my identity was really in basketball and success, and you don't really know it, right? Because you just grow up wanting to make it, do something, and sometimes it becomes your full-on identity, and now it's unhealthy.
Absolutely.
So 2011 was a big turning point in my life, and now it's more purpose-driven. It's about other people, inspiring, impacting, and
get this being
treating totally different.
I love it. I love it. No, that's an amazing story. And I'm sure as grand scheme as you were actually on, traveling the world, 40 plus countries, and then things stop, and then you kind of reinvent yourself and become more purpose driven. For the kids watching who might have much smaller goals, maybe they're, instead of just kind of getting back onto the entertainment circuit and playing basketball for a living, maybe they're just trying to make a team. Maybe they're just trying to, become a little bit more confident or overcome a tough family situation. So do you have any advice that could kind of permeate any situation as far as getting the self-doubt out your mind and just staying focused on what the goal is at hand?
For sure. I actually like, what comes to mind is what Kobe Bryant was talking about. Rest in peace. He was saying, they asked him about, what did they ask? They asked him about, how are you so confident in yourself, when you take to the court? And he was saying, I can only be as confident as my preparation. And I like that because a lot of players will have self-doubt in certain things, but it's like, if you prepare, for me, I'm not going to be nervous going to play in front of however many people because I'm putting in so much work that it's like, A, I'm going to be confident because I've done something over and over and over. But then B, I think what's also valuable to the kids, not something that Kobe said, but failing is okay. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, in every game, there's going to be players that had a bad game. There's going to be a team that loses. And ultimately, you get better from your failures. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks and you don't feel like that in the moment.
For sure.
Sometimes you got to fall on your face, like in certain areas, and know how to not do it the next time. And I think failure is like so valuable, like people don't even know in my and one run, my pro career, I had games where I didn't do nothing. I had a crappy game, you know what I mean? Sometimes it was hard because it was an all-star game and like there wasn't as many touches to go around. I remember I popped up this fan page called And One World, and they had a game from Jacksonville, Florida, 2005, and I remember that game. I was like, I didn't do nothing this game. I had a couple turnovers.
Yeah, we don't see that on the mixtapes or any of that,
Yeah. And I consider those failures, but even from that game, I remember I learned, like, you know what? I'll never start the game slow. Like, I'm going to heat it up. As soon as I get it, we're going to make something happen.
Sure.
And so you always learn through your failures, and I would tell the kids it's okay to fail. Like, try to prepare your best. And if you fail, learn from it, and then just know that every player, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, you, me, everybody has failed all at certain levels of their career. You know what I mean? You never get to a point where you have it all together. That's what I say.
That's great advice. That's fantastic advice. And speaking of staying prepared, are you still in the gym training every day, or do you prepare in different ways now that you're an influencer? What do you do to stay on top of your craft these days?
Still training. I'm at my best when I'm training a lot off the court, like core, functional movement training, working my core, lifting weights. I run 4 times a week, 1 to 2 miles. Try to sprint it if I can. I know that for me, I actually really like running. I don't love lifting weights, but I like how I feel afterwards. But I try to run a lot because I know that cardio is a very underestimated piece of the game. And I know that, like, come the fourth quarter or even a 1v1 game, right? The last few possessions, if you got your wind, you got a big advantage.
Sure.
So I always try to keep my wind And yeah, I do train, but there are times, I'm not gonna sit here and lie, there are times where I let business take over, and 3 weeks go by, like, dang, I ain't even trained. You know, sometimes a couple weeks go by, I ain't touch a ball.
Right.
But I am in my 30s, right? And so it's different. When I was in my teens and my 20s, like you said, we're in the gym daily. You know what I mean? Going hard, 2-a-day workouts, and it's really about the craft. So it's gonna look different for somebody in their late 30s, but for the kids, can't train enough, you know?
Absolutely. That's great advice as well. I know you probably have heard, I don't know if you know him personally, but another influence in my life and what I do is E.T., hip-hop preacher Eric Thomas. Are you familiar with him?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm familiar, dude, yeah.
Okay, all right, great dude. He's actually done some work, I think, with Johnny Stafine, Dribble Too Much. They collaborated a little bit. But one thing that always stuck with me that he said was, you know, when he was plotting on being the #1 motivational speaker in the world, he would, on his journey, he would have a lot of business-minded people stop him and say, okay, well, what's your 5-year plan? Let me see your business plan. Let's talk about your 10-year plan. And he said, I don't have one. He's like, I'm just working, I'm going, I see where I want to go, and I'm kind of riding the wave till I get there. That seemed to work for him. You know, to a certain extent, that's worked for me. Now, you in your position, being an influencer and being a global basketball entertainer, do you have a 5-year plan, 10-year plan, or are you kind of just moving, riding, evolving as you go? What's your ultimate goal, and how do you really plan to get there?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. I think that's cool what he said, because sometimes, like, what I do is I'll set a goal and we'll work toward it so that daily, like, I am working toward that goal. But a lot of times God takes it in a different direction, you know what I mean, that we couldn't even have foreseen. So I think you have to do both, because you could set a goal, and if all you did was strive toward that goal, there could have been better opportunities missed along the way, and you forced it just toward that goal, you know?
I like that.
So mine was a little bit of both. Like, make no mistake, I'm still trying to get 10 mil subs on YouTube. That's my goal now. But my goal initially was to, after AND1, let's make a full-time living, a sturdy living again, playing basketball. You know, so I started with a smaller goal, and then it's like, all right, cool, we had that. Digital took off, I didn't even foresee it. Now I'm setting goals regarding YouTube. Now, those other goals I have, where I'm working on film projects outside of this, hopefully come to fruition. Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit of both, you know?
You know, that's great advice as well. And lastly, you know, I'll kind of wrap this up here. As a quick anecdote, one thing I'm working on this week is I'm producing a video which makes a real strong case for the AND1 mixtape, the original players, to be inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame, actually. I think that would be really special to see, just based solely on the impact that you had on basketball globally. Probably more people started playing basketball over the past 20 years due to the AND1 mixtapes than any other era. So I'm working on that video, and that kind of ties into my last question, which was, what legacy do you want to have in the world, and what impact would you like to leave in the world when you're done, when you finally put the basketball back on the shelf?
Well, first off, I appreciate you making that video. That's humbling. Hall of Fame would be dope. But no, as far as what I think about, as far as legacy, I think that ultimately, there's a quote, I can't remember exactly how it goes right now, but somebody says if you're only remembered for your craft or what you did, like, it's sort of incomplete, you know what I mean? You want to be remembered for something bigger than that. So hopefully I'm remembered as somebody who's very inspirational and impactful, inspire people to do great things. So I think in just a general vague area, hopefully content lives online for a long time. I think that would be cool for my kids, Lord willing, you know, my future kids, Lord willing, and generations beyond that. And I haven't thought too much into accolades or anything like that, like a B-Ball Hall of Fame. I know that the Globetrotters are in the Hall of Fame, which I thought was very interesting. I found that out. So I don't know how street ball weighs in, because there's two inductees. There's like the Hall of Fame main one, and then there's like a sub Hall of Fame. That's the Globetrotters in there for. I can't remember what it is.
It's contributors to the game of basketball.
There it is. So that would be cool. I hadn't thought too much into that, but yeah, hopefully at the end of the day, somebody who inspired and impacted somebody to keep basketball. Could have been for faith, could have been to work on the craft and stay motivated. Those are the things I think about.
Well, I think you're doing a heck of a job so far. You know, I already kind of gave an intro on how you impacted my life and all the kids involved with the Inspirational Hoops program. I'm sure they're going to be very grateful that you took the time today to kind of talk to them about how they can set their own goals and overcome some obstacles in their life. So,
absolutely, man. Hey, appreciate you having me on. Shout out to all the kids up there, Inspirational Hoops. Keep working hard. I had a great time sitting down here with Daniel. And who knows, hopefully I can see you guys one day in person. You know what I mean?
We're gonna make it happen, bro. We're gonna make it happen, man. You stay safe. You wash your hands, bro. And I'll be seeing you soon, man. Thank you so much.
Okay, all love, bro. I'll talk to you soon.